This is weird, right? It's not a traditional concert or some type of performance art, and although it looks like it, it's not some 1980s military propaganda. Instead, it's the grand opening for the Toronto SkyDome, which is now known as the Rogers Centre. This loud and boisterous event was incredibly awkward, had a ton of mishaps, and was extremely un-Canadian. June 3rd, 1989, the Canadian Broadcast Company, along with the president of the SkyDome, decided to celebrate the opening of this massive stadium. And to be fair, this was a pretty big deal. Just a couple years before opening, Toronto's football team, the Argonauts, played in what used to be known as Exhibition Stadium. During the 1982 championship game, the team and crowd got rained on. After this happened, the city demanded an indoor stadium, hoping it would protect them from the rain. And the retractable dome was an engineering marvel and the first of its kind. Although it seems very un-Canadian to see an event like this today, it was justified for Toronto and Canada as a whole to pump up their chest a bit. And so the 2-hour live event started. Over 50,000 Canadians filed into a completely sold out SkyDome. It was hosted by Canadian celebrities Alan Thicke and SCTV's Andrea Martin. They started off the event performing a musical number along with hundreds of volunteer dancers. That's right, volunteers. And this whole intro was pretty awkward and cringy. This song went on for over 7 minutes. Until they stopped, the crowd didn't seem into it at all. Alan Thicke then introduced a division of the Ontario Provincial Police, where they rode around in their motorcycles for what felt like forever.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Ontario Provincial Police Golden Helmets Precision Team. The Golden Helmets were formed in...
Okay, you get the idea. Alan Thicke later gave a shout out to Canadian Fitness Week, as that what was happening in the country at the time. It was basically just a compilation of all the sports in the 80s that you'd think of. Cycling, aerobics, skipping, karate. Then this weird thing happened. I'm really not sure what's going on here. And then the grand finale for this segment, the Toronto Police swung down from the rafters. I gotta admit, this was pretty cool. Around the 40-minute mark, things calmed down a bit when comedian André-Philippe Gagnon did a stand-up that included impressions of Elvis, Louis Armstrong, along with some other celebrities and bands. For whatever reason, the crowd actually loved this guy and probably gave him the best response of the night. Now, this was all pretty awkward and weird, but it was never harmful. It was just a bunch of Canadians having a good time. That was true until about an hour into the event, where the Ontario Premier at the time decided to open the dome using a laser beam. It was initially stated by a reporter that they weren't going to open the dome due to a lightning storm, but instead they did it anyways and had it rain down on the crowd and the performers. Luckily, some attendees brought umbrellas, but not everyone. Tons of people from the crowd started to leave and were noticeably upset. Not even the SkyDome's official mascot, Domer, could save the day.
Domer!
More and more people left, and then, nearing the end of the show, the worst timed song imaginable played.
Open up. Open up. Time to let the celebration begin. Open up the dome and let the people come in.
This was at a time where the crowd was chanting for them to close the dome. And this went on for nearly 30 minutes, introducing more and more people involved in the making of the SkyDome. For some reason, the event planners thought it was a good idea for people to come into the dome while parachuting. Luckily, no one got hurt, but there were some close calls. Then the event ended with a fireworks and balloon display. It's interesting to note here that shots of the crowd were noticeably absent, most likely due to there not being many of them left and them being predictably upset. But even though this event was really strange and kind of a failure at certain parts, it didn't seem to matter at all. Just a couple days later, the Blue Jays played their first game in the SkyDome, and the fans have been coming back ever since.